You think Charmed was good versus evil? Here's the twist. Every spell came with a moral invoice. Today, we're counting 7 moments where the rules didn't just guide the sisters, they broke their world. We'll map how a symbol, a book, a ritual, and the people who policed them turned magic into a cosmic bureaucracy. You'll see how personal gain wasn't a guideline, it was a trap. And by the end, you'll know why the most dangerous force in the manor wasn't a demon. It was the fine print. Number 1, the Triquetra. What if the logo on the manor wasn't branding? It was a binding clause that charged interest every time the sisters cast. That Triquetra isn't just a pretty knot. It seals their bond, the power of 3, and flips a switch that boosts any spell when they stand in sync. But that same seal wires in accountability. You get the surge and you inherit the ledger. When they act in lockstep, the current roars. So does the audit. Here's the paradox. The tighter the unity, the bigger the blowback when the goal drifts from duty. Lean on the bond to nudge life along. Romance, a promotion, a shortcut, and the universe flags it like a bounced check. Harmony becomes a feedback loop. The chant lands, and then the ripples start. Think about a group incantation tilted toward love advice that veers into steering outcomes. The words sound right, the candles behave, but the aftershock misfires. A demon you didn't plan on sniffs the surge. A door you didn't open swings wide. Time stutters just enough to scramble a schedule and put a target on someone who shouldn't be in the crosshairs. Exposure risk climbs off the chart. That's because the Triquetra works like a notarized agreement. Collective power triggers a cosmic audit. Elders notice. Demons notice. The cleaners hang back, ready. The symbol is a beacon and a bell. Contrast that with a pure rescue. When the motive is clean, save an innocent, end a threat, the flow stabilizes. But blend it with a personal want, and the chaos tax arrives. Memory gaps, frayed bonds, awkward fallout that lingers longer than the spell.
The brittle winter gives way to flowers of spring. Ludlow is vanquished.
Mini payoff. The Triquetra isn't just power, it's consent to oversight. The bond grants force and it summons the regulators. If the seal is the contract, the fine print lives in one place, the family ledger of rules. Number 2, the Book of Shadows.
Bring your powers to we sisters 3. We want the power. Give us the power.
The book saves them until it doesn't. Why does a guide that teaches protection also punish shortcuts? You learn fast that this isn't a dusty grimoire, it breathes. Spells evolve, warnings update, and those tight little margins carry family notes that hit harder than any lecture. It shapes how you act, what you won't try, and how you justify the stuff you do at 2 a.m. when the clock says spell, but your gut says don't. Here's the snag. Some entries offer tools that can slide into the gray. Scrying to chase a personal lead. A charm to nudge feelings, a clarity right that sounds harmless. Then the margins snap back with no personal gain, highlighted in snarky ancestor ink. Which voice do you follow when your heart is loud? Season 2's Give Me a Sign lays it out. A spell meant to help resolve a love choice reads clean on the page. But the effect ricochets. The request for clarity acts like a flare, pulling in the wrong attention and setting off a chain that lands Prue in danger with Bane. The words are right, the outcome isn't, and the cost hits a sister who never asked. That's the tell. The book enforces intent. Think of it like a safe with a tamper alarm. Twist the dial for yourself and the lock jams, the siren calls out, and you get fallout instead of favor. The structure backs this up. Counterspells sit beside vanquishes, and the footnotes carry receipts of prior errors. a quiet ranking of what to reach for and why certain pages exist at all. Quick pause before we dive into the next hidden meaning. If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We've got even deeper charmed theories. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Number 3. The practices? Every shortcut came back with interest. Why did helping with magic sometimes wreck the week? Start with the basics you see them use on loop. Spoken spells, brewed potions, a crystal over a map to scry, and the rare but tempting time tweak. All of that sits under one lightning rod rule. No personal gain. Not a suggestion, a tripwire. The edge cases are where it stings. You heal someone who isn't in mortal danger, but it eases your guilt. You conjure an object to get closure you didn't earn. You cast a charm that clears a bottleneck at work so you can make the meeting that builds your career. The motive reads kind, but the benefit lands at your feet. Does that pass? Follow one good deed and watch the boomerang curve back. A quick spell to smooth a relationship tips into control, and suddenly the chemistry feels wrong, like a song a half step off. A potion brewed to nudge luck jams a different gear. Appointments shift, a call is missed, and a chain reaction rewrites a day you needed to stay put. The misfire isn't random. It tags the self-serving thread woven into the act. Here's the logic. The rule isn't bare punishment, it's balance. Magic that replaces earned outcomes warps the social fabric, like cutting into a line and forcing everyone else to shuffle. Systems kick in to level the board. Number 4. The supporting cast of magic. The scariest force wasn't a demon. It was the team that could rewrite yesterday. You meet 3 layers. Elders set policy from the clouds, drafting rules that treat magic like infrastructure. Cleaners enforce secrecy with surgical fixes. Erase a witness, reset a street, tidy the timeline. Whitelighters sit in the middle, part guardian, part caseworker, tied to human lives and duty in the same breath. That's where the clash hits. The sisters fight for a life they know, a name, a face. The mandate says keep the masquerade, save one person, and you might trigger edits across a neighborhood. A miracle in broad daylight can force a cleanup that scrubs more than the scene. Think about a public rescue that tips into exposure. The fix arrives fast. Memories lift out of friends' heads. Hours vanish from a partner's day. A choice gets undone to restore order, and the people closest to them feel the hole without knowing why. Trust thins. Fights start from nothing. Agency gets traded for quiet. Here's the twist. These actors turn magic into governance. They don't weigh heart, they weigh stability. Does the world keep running? Can the secret hold? If yes, proceed. If not, remove the thread and restitch the cloth. It's traffic control, not therapy. Number 5, the sacred space and tools. That attic wasn't cozy, it was a tribunal. Every candle, crystal, and circle was a legal filing. You read the room by its tools. Crystal grids map. Energy like a circuit board, directing flow and trapping spillover. Potion kits sit like a chemistry bench. Measured droppers, labeled vials, heat control. An athame marks the boundary. Draw a line, set a ward, cut a link. The altar anchors it all, a fixed desk where intent gets sworn in. Up there, the process is the point. Containment so force doesn't bleed, consent so no one gets bound by accident, intent so the work has a clean thesis. But tools don't take sides. A ward can shield or shackle. Shift your motive mid-cast and the grid hears it, rerouting current to the loudest signal, not the noble one. A crystal meant to call a helper locks onto a nearby parasite because you wanted speed more than clarity. The attic keeps the receipt. Take a protection circle that looked airtight. The chant held. The salt line gleamed. Then the entity leveraged the gap you left, an unpurged token on the altar, and rode the loop, amplifying your focus on fear. A mortal in the next room took the hit when the rebound burst the boundary and latched to the softest target. Here's why. Sacred space is a mic. Pure intent comes out clean. Mixed agendas feed back, squeal and scramble signal. Strip the demons away and you get a clean thesis. Power without cost is noise. Cost creates drama. So here's the moral algebra the show runs on. Motive plus method plus exposure risk equals consequence. You can act for the right reason and still pay if the technique cuts corners. You can execute a flawless spell and still pay if the aim sneaks a benefit home. And if the act threatens secrecy, the build gets upgraded. That equation sits under every big swing. Then comes the nagging question you carry episode to episode. How much good are you allowed to do before the system takes something back? Save one life in public, and you might lose trust in private. Fix a problem fast and time itself drafts a counteroffer. Where's the cap? You see it most in the intimate spaces. Romances warp under the weight of edits and omissions. Careers stall because clean wins are hard to prove without magic's thumb on the scale. Sanity frays when yesterday is flexible and intent gets second-guessed by forces that don't live with the fallout. No single villain arc hits that hard because this calculus never leaves. If this moral math changed how you see the manor, you're our people. Drop a comment with the personal gain call that still divides you. Was using a spell to mend a broken bond fair play, or did the fallout prove the point of the rule? And tell me where you stand on the cleaners. When they wiped a mess to keep the masquerade, were they right to step in, or did they trample agency to save appearances? Let me ask you a poll-style one. Should magic fix real-world problems in-universe? Illness, poverty, disaster? Or is that a breach of order that unravels everything else? Think of it like pulling a load-bearing wall in a house. You might open up space, but you can drop the roof. If you're into deep dives that treat lore like case law and you want more charmed breakdowns in TV ethics, hit that subscribe button. We go scene by scene, motive by method, and track the debt ledger the show keeps pretending isn't there. New essays land on a regular rhythm and you won't miss the next arc. Share this with a friend who still thinks it's just good versus evil. See if they can argue the other side of your take in the comments, because the best debates make the next watch sharper. Next up on this feed, we're tackling the Avatar's utopia as the ultimate personal gain experiment. Control, consent, and whether perfect peace has a bill you can't pay. If that sounds like your lane, stay close.